What's going on, everyone? So it's no secret that the Lakers are actively looking for another big in free agency. According to Rob Pelinka, they kind of want to get back to a bit of the model of the 2020 roster, the roster that won the NBA championship with AD playing some at the four. That doesn't necessarily mean that he'll start at the four. If they get a guy like Christian Wood, then maybe they kind of work that out. But even then, you can make an argument to start Wood at the four and then AD at the five. But the idea is to get big men around AD to where he isn't the sole guy, right? We saw that last year. Damian Jones was basically unplayable and a disaster for the Lakers. Thomas Bryant was great offensively. Defensively, he was literally the worst defensive big man in the league. Not my opinion, a literal fact. And then after the trade deadline, all we had left was Mo Bamba, and he was hurt the entire time. So it's not like the Lakers had all of these options, right? And I still see the sentiment of Darvin Ham doesn't like to play bigs. Like, I have no idea where that comes from, right? I mean, he came from Milwaukee, where that's all they did was play bigs. And you look at the Lakers roster, and it's not like he had a bunch of bigs on the roster. It's not like he had a bunch of versatile bigs. It's not like he had a Dwight Howard and Anthony Davis, right? And Thomas Bryant and AD, maybe you could have had the two of them play together, but then AD's got to work twice as hard on the defensive end. It just, I don't know if that was the answer, right? But regardless, the idea of bringing in another big is good, right? They got Jackson Hayes. That's one of the reasons they brought him in. They believe and see him kind of as like the JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard type player. Not as big and just, physical as Dwight Howard is, but he is a very good pick and roll defender as a big man. He's a good help defensive big man. He's good at just getting touches around the basket, dump it down to him, and he can just kind of float it up. Jackson Hayes could be a big factor for the Lakers. You could slot him alongside Anthony Davis, but Anthony Davis has to be able to knock down the mid-range and the three ball. Right? The reason you were able to play him alongside other bigs in that run was his ability to shoot the ball. And since then, he's basically been allergic to it and has not been able to. And so that becomes a problem because Anthony Davis already disappears at times on the offensive end. If he can't knock down the mid-range or the three ball, then he might as well not even be on the court outside of defensive purposes in some areas, right? At times. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully that changes and that fixes, but it is something of concern. But here's the thing. Where are the bigs at, right? How come the Lakers haven't brought in another big? There's talks about Christian Wood, Bismack Biyombo. Problem is the world in the league is kind of on a standstill while they figure out what's going on with Damian Lillard, right? It's not just only Dame, right? But Dame is the big domino. So could the Lakers go and get a Christian Wood or go get a Bismack Biyombo like today, tomorrow, maybe while you're watching this video, whatever? Yeah, sure. But I wouldn't really count on it. Yes, you also have Las Vegas Summer League going on, so it's kind of the focus, right? Organizations are kind of looking and scouting and keeping an eye on GMs. You see all the GMs and the head coaches are all at Summer League, and they're all watching their players play and perform and just kind of trying to gauge how do they look. Is this a guy that we're bringing onto the roster? Is this a guy that needs time and development in the G League? So all the attention and focus is kind of on that. And then outside of that, you have the what's going to happen with Damian Lillard. And some of you might be asking, why do the Lakers care what happens with Damian Lillard, right? They're not going to trade for him, and I agree. But it's because what ends up happening with the Damian Lillard trade. So very likely, Miami is going to have to find a third team. And there's going to be multiple interchangeable pieces and all these things. Who knows? Maybe it's a 4 or 5 team deal where one team gets Tyler Hero and another team gets this piece over here and another team gets this piece over here, right? There's talks about James Harden, him potentially wanting out, right? And he ended up getting traded. Maybe he goes somewhere and another piece gets in. Zach LaVine is actively being shopped, and there are several teams making bids for that. So maybe this turns into like some big cesspool trade, and you have all these interchangeable parts. And what if there's a center or two in that deal? What if like an Andre Drummond or a Nikola Vucevic, and he ends up getting waived or bought out or something once he's available to be traded? Or I'm not saying that that'll happen. I'm just saying, like, who knows, right? These guys are still going to be on the market. They're still on the market for a reason, right? And the well is already incredibly thin. So it's not like if you wait around, it's gonna change much. It's not like there's this big marquee guy. Like, we still don't know if Christian Wood will actually come to Lakers on a vet minimum deal. He's waiting to see if a team offers him more than the vet minimum. That's what he's waiting for. And that probably doesn't happen until we get that Damian Lillard trade. Because that Damian Lillard trade is very likely the dominoes that are going to be falling, and you're going to see them start trickling off, and whatever players are involved in those deals, some of them could get waived and bought out. And so the Lakers have 2 roster spots. What if some significant piece, what happens if, I don't know, let's say Duncan Robinson. What if Duncan Robinson is included in that deal and a team ends up waiving him and stretching him or something like that? And you can go get Duncan Robinson on a vet minimum, right? I'm not saying that that'll happen, but I'm saying you don't know what the fallout will be from these types of trades, right? Can the Lakers end up getting in on some small little move? I'm not saying they're going to go get Damian Lillard or Zach LaVine or something like that, but can they work something out to where a piece ends up getting added that makes sense for the Lakers, and Lakers are, letting go of future picks or something like that, right? Like, it's not impossible to allow certain things to just kind of develop, unfold, and see where it goes. I trust Rob Pelinka. I believe in Rob Pelinka. I know he's going to figure it out and he's going to make the right calls. Most of these guys are still going to be on the market a month from now. Would it suck to lose like a Bismack Biyombo if we wait and he's off the table? Sure. But, he's kind of like, you got Jackson Hayes, and according to Rob Pelinka, from what he's talked about, kind of wants a more versatile center. So does he look at it as like, okay, well, even if we lose him, it's not a big deal because the prize is Christian Wood, and if Christian Wood doesn't come in, do they go look at like a DeMarcus Cousins or something like that? Because he has the ability to stretch the floor and play make and be a big body. Like, there's options, right? It's not like it's Christian Wood and Bismack Biyombo or bust, right? Whoever they bring in is very likely going to be the third big anyway, unless it is Christian Wood. If it is Christian Wood, then yeah, I think I could see him starting something like that. But then he's not really, the center, right? And I kind of lean towards the Lakers. Again, Christian Wood trumps everything because talent trumps everything. If you can get Christian Wood on a vet minimum, then who cares? But outside of that, if he's not an option, I do kind of lean towards more of a bruiser type big man, right? Like, I would rather see that kind of be the case, but that's just me. Regardless, I wouldn't be shocked if we're kind of in this waiting game and we got to wait patiently until we see the Damian Lillard trade happening. But at the same time, Portland's even today has talked about like, hey, if it takes months, it takes months. We don't mind if we bring him back in. I don't think that'll be the case. I think teams are going to want to get this done by training camp, right? Like, if you're Miami, don't you want to get Damian Lillard to your team by training camp so you can start working towards the common goal, right? If Chicago is going to trade Zach LaVine, you think that they want to do it by training camp? James Harden, you think that they would want to do that by training camp? So that way all of like your roster that you're going to have more than likely for the whole year, you can start putting things in place and start building that culture and that direction for the season. So I don't think it'll be crazy long, but you never know. And I mean, at some point, teams will just say, all right, enough's enough, right? I mean, you saw it with like Kevin Durant last year, right? Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving trade, it put everything on standstill until Kevin Durant said, all right, I'll try to work it out. And then once Kevin Durant did that, all of a sudden you just saw boom, 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 all these deals and all these moves happening. It's kind of where we're at right now. So we just got to remain patient. Trust Rob Pelinka doing his due diligence. If he can convince Christian Wood or Bismack Biyombo to come now, I'm sure he will. If he's waiting, then I think that there's a purpose, right? But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think of the kind of waiting game that the Lakers are playing right now? What center would you like to see the Lakers bring in? Is it a Bismack Biyombo? Is it a Christian Wood? Is it some other option? Maybe somebody else that's out there that's available. I'm still part of the camp of Hassan Whiteside, or even a DeMarcus Cousins. I know some people want like a Dwight Howard, and there's kind of been talks of Dwight potentially wanting to come back to the Lakers. You compared the Lakers to like an ex-girlfriend and all that stuff. So, I don't know. It's there's options. I trust Rob, like I said, to be patient. But do you feel the same way? Are you like, no? Are you kind of anxious? Like, come on, let's get this done. Let's get this over with. Let's find that peace. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Either way, down in the comments below.